Hey everybody, and welcome to Ongaku Concept. This week I wanted to do another transcription video. So this week we're going to transcribe the opening theme to the second season of My Teen Romantic Comedy. I was just, before recording this, I was just kind of going through various anime openings, trying to find something that I wanted to transcribe, and I came across this song, which I've heard of this series before, but I've never watched it. I was like immediately struck by how well crafted the opening theme was. So I'm just going to put together a chord chart, kind of like I did last time I did one of these videos, and you can see how that process works, and so let's do that. Right now you can see I've got VGMDB up here in the background, and as I said a few weeks ago, the best way to make sure you're getting all your credits correct is to look it up on a database such as VGMDB, and VGMDB.net is the #1 place I go when I try and find this sort of information. So I just make sure all the titling is correct and everything like that. I'm just going to copy the title and paste it here. This is Harumodoki by Yanaginagi. I can never say her name correctly. She's a very good singer. I'll just put there. The composer, according to VGMDB, is, I can't read it, here it is, Katsutoshi Kitagawa. I've never heard of him before, but this song is very, very good. And I typically put a transcriber credit in the lyricist position. So, and since this will be up on the blog, once I have the transcription finished, I'll just put that there so you know where it came from. So since we're just doing a chord chart, I'm just going to grab a treble clef. I've got the song loaded up in Riff Station. So let me go ahead and figure out the key. That's probably enough information. It's in D. Cool. D has 2 sharps, so I'll select that. And the tempo is about 176 beats per minute. And we're in common time, so either this little C here or 4/4 time would work either way. It's the same thing. There's no pickup measure, so 32 bars should be enough to start with, so we'll go ahead and do that. Just close that. Alright, so first thing I'm going to do is zoom into 200%, just because it fits my monitor decently, and, you know, it just provides a decent amount of close-up for... Oh, I haven't saved this file yet, have I? Of course not. That should do it. Awesome. Okay, now we can go ahead and get started. I'll go ahead and add a few breaks here. There's no really specific reason as to why. There is a specific reason. There's no specific rules as to whether you should break things up in like 4-bar sections like this, like I have. The only reason I do that is because a lot of songs are usually are typically grouped in 4 bars, like little sections are grouped in 4 bars. So I just think it makes it easier to read that way. It really doesn't matter. Whatever is easiest to read. And that's really kind of the #1 thing about transcription and notation, is that clarity trumps rules in a lot of cases. So if something you come across is if you can find a better way to write it than the one you're working with, you know, then use that. Because clarity is the ultimate goal. But we're just doing a chord chart, so it's just going to be blank staff with chords above the thing, and we shouldn't have to worry about that too much. I always keep the bar lines and breaks and spacers windows open, because I use those most frequently. So, key of D, 176 beats per minute. Let's go ahead and get started. Alright, so that first chord. It sounds like a 4 chord to me. And in D, the 4 chord is G. Is that over here the 7th? I don't think so. It's just a G major chord right there. Okay, so this is a very typical progression in Japanese pop music. Here we have G, which is the 4 chord. Then we have A7 over G, which is the 5, in a third inversion just to keep G in the bass. Then we have F sharp minor 7 and B minor 7. So this is a 4, 5, 3, 6 progression. It's very, very common in Japanese pop music, and it's also very common to have the 5 chord in third inversion like this, which can give a neat effect. So that's that. That's the first part of like the little intro before it continues on. And some people like to go ahead and separate something like this where there's a clear distinction between two like sections of an intro. You know, so we can just go ahead and like put a double bar right here to separate like that opening vocal part with the instrumental break. Okay, so there we had an extra bar. So my adding breaks here was not a good idea. Extra bar, if I kind of like a build up there before the rest of the instruments come in. Yeah, let's say G add 9. We're adding A, which is pretty clearly heard on top. The chord changes like just before the measure switches, but it doesn't really matter. I'm just gonna put G add 9 right there. Typically, what you'll see with these kinds of charts is rhythm slashes. So you'll have like just like a little slash right here. Like an 8th note before the measure begins, like tied up to here, just to indicate to the session players what the rhythm of the song is. But I'm not worried about those today. I'm just going to be showing off how to figure out chord progressions. And a lot of it is it's just stuff you get used to hearing. Like the first 4 chords are pretty easy. I didn't even have to check these two because it's such a common progression, and when you hear things enough, you begin to pick up on them. But let's keep moving here. So we have, as the instrumental kind of break comes in, we have the 4 chord. We have the D there. I'm trying to tell if I can hear any other extensions, you know. So I second guess myself a lot, so I just want to like listen through and make sure I'm not hearing anything else. Alright, so we have G add 9 for 2 bars, and we have D for 2 bars. We have G add 9 again. And then it kind of continues on as the strings fade out. Then we have that chord right there, right before the verse comes in. Sounds like, I'm kind of thinking it's the 3 chord. Yeah. Da-da, that's a nice sound. 1, 2, F sharp minor 7. Cool. So that's the intro. We have G, A7 over G, F sharp minor 7, B minor 7. We have cool. So pretty typical so far. It sounds really nice. I really like the arrangement. This next part though, in the verse, not even just the chords, listen to the drums. They're really, really tight and it sounds great. So good. That is an interesting. Let me listen to that again. That's really neat. Using instead of a lot of songs would since we're in the key of D, if you're just gonna base your verse around a single chord, it would make the most sense to go ahead and choose D since we're in the key of D. But here we've just got G major 7, the 4 chord, 3, 4, 1, 2. Switches to F sharp minor 7, and then back to G. It just kind of does that. That's a really interesting sound. Using the 4 chord as kind of your just kind of hang around on it. It's interesting because the 4 chord is kind of this place of movement. So if you're on it, you're probably moving somewhere. And what I mean by that is that it's not. It's a stable chord in and of itself, but in relation to the key, it kind of has, like, it wants to keep moving. And so I think using the 4 chord here provides kind of the sense of, how do I put it? It just provides an atmosphere of uncertainty, but not like in a mysterious kind of way. You know what? I think you know what I mean. It's a really nice sound, but let me see how many times this is repeated. Okay, sweet. Yeah, I like that the way the instrument's cut out there. Let's see, I'll skip ahead a little bit. Alright, so there at the, this whole section is repeated again, but at the end, the last couple of bars, we have a little bit of a change going on. And let me see just where that was. Okay, so it's just the last measure that's different. And because of that, it would save a lot of space if we just went ahead and put repeat signs right here and chose an alternate ending. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add another bar onto this little section here. And I'll apply the change. Yeah, it's B minor 7. Alright, so B minor 7, A sus 4. It's just not likely that you would hear a 5 chord like this suspended without being resolved back down to its normal major form. So that's why I'm just double checking to make sure I'm hearing what I think I'm hearing. So like I said, because this repeats, the idea is that once you get to the end of this measure, you go back up here and you keep going until you hit this measure here, and instead of doing this one, you skip ahead to this one. And we're gonna use alternate endings to make that clear. I'm just gonna stick one over here. I'm about to move this chord up a little bit to accommodate. So that's ending number 1, and then the second time you go around, you play this bar instead. So it's a nice way of saving space on a score. And MuseScore, and before you had to adjust the length of these things manually, but after the 2.0 update from MuseScore, they changed it so you didn't have to do that, and it automatically snapped to the bar length, which is really nice. Alright, so that's the verse done. So far, we're only using 4 chords, essentially. Just the 4, 5, 3, 6, okay, I guess 5 chords. The 4, 5, 3, 6, and 1 chords. The only ones that show up so far. I expect we'll hear more, though. Alright, so on to the pre-chorus. We're gonna need more than 32 bars, aren't we? Alright. It's a nice climbing kind of sound there. I think it starts on the 2 chord. So in the key of D, the 2 chord is E minor 7, and yes, you might notice that just about all of these chords so far are 7th chords. Again, very common of Japanese pop music is to use 7th chords just about anywhere applicable, so it's pretty nice. And so here, I'll write it down for you. At the beginning of the pre-chorus, we have E minor 7, that's the 2 chord. F sharp minor 7, that's the 3 chord. And then we have G major 9, because we have a G add 9 chord, and I can hear the 7th in the harmony vocals. Alright, on to the next part. There's something really cool there. E minor 7 and F sharp minor 7 again. But then I hear the bass kind of jump up to this out of key note. So the bass is not the one that's out of key. What am I hearing here?
12 seconds later.
Huh. I've never heard that before. So what we have is, we have A minor 7 going to D7, and that's not uncommon in Japanese music whatsoever. It's basically a 2-5 setting up for G. But what's weird about this is B is on the bass over that A minor 7 chord. I have never heard something like that before. So A minor 7 over B, and D7. Huh. That's really interesting. And now I'm going into analysis mode and trying to figure out, okay, how does this... What other ways could I think about this? And because of the presence of the C there, I wouldn't analyze it as any kind of B chord. It is definitely acting as an A minor 7. I mean, the bass does go down to A after it hits that B, but still, that's a very interesting note choice. And it really makes that, because the minor 5 chord is so common in Japanese stuff, it's kind of expected. So, and this, really throws you off, I guess. But it's interesting. I like the sound of it. I'm going to need to study that some more later. And while we're at this, I'm going to go ahead and add some more bars. Huh. Alright, so continuing on. Alright, so we just have E minor 7, F sharp minor 7. I know this said this was leading up to G. E minor 7 contains an E chord, a G chord inside of it, so it still counts. And then we have what sounds like a 9 sus4 chord on the 5. Let's just take a listen. Yeah. Alright, so what we have here is E minor 7, F sharp minor 7, it's the 2 and 3 chords. We jump up to the 5. And what this sound is, this is a G over A chord. And this could also be called A9 sus4. It's just a suspended A chord, and it's one of the. And I know I said earlier that I didn't really expect this A sus4 to be suspended all by its lonesome. I think it's a bit of a different case when you add the 7th and 9th into a sus chord, because then it can really kind of stand on its own, because it sounds a lot more like the 4 chord. But yes, 9 sus4 chord, very, very common in Japanese music. These are all common Japanese chord movement techniques, so if you want to learn how to write music like this, you should pay attention to that. I also noticed, so let's see, that lasts for how long? Alright, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And I'm just gonna, I'll try and squeeze this on 6 bars here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So right here, we had what sounded like a 5 of 6, which in this case would be F sharp 7. Sounds like the bass is on A sharp, which would make a lot of sense, going from the 5 to the 5 of 6 in third inversion. So we have A moving up to A sharp in the bass. Alright, so do I hear the 7th in there? I don't think I hear the 7th, so it's just F sharp over A sharp. Alright. So hey, that's the whole like intro, verse, and pre-chorus here. Alright, so this chorus. It's very similar to the opening. We just have a 4, 5, 3, 6 progression. So we start on G major 7. And then A7 over G, F sharp minor 7, B minor 7. We're on to the next part. Alright, so that's a more straight example of the minor 5 chord. I'll get to that. Hold on. Alright, so we have E minor 7. So we have E minor 7, that's the 2 chord. F sharp 7 to at the secondary dominant, it's the 5 of 6, so it leads up more strongly to B minor 7. And then here we have A minor 7 and D7. And this time there's no inversion. This is a much more straight example of something you would hear in a typical Japanese pop song. And most likely it's going to head to G major 7 after that. So let's listen to that again. Okay, so we have G major 7, 7 over G, F sharp minor 7, quickly going to F sharp 7 over A sharp, and B minor 7. So we have the 2 and 3 chords again. G major 7. We have A over G, or I'm sorry, G over A again. Oops, I put, there we go, minor 7. Let me have the same thing for this little outro here. I'll delete all the extra measures we don't need. Just add another measure just for that kind of fade out. Okay, that's it then. We have a chord chart for the opening to my teenage romantic comedy. So this is pretty straightforward as far as a lot of Japanese pop songs go. It's mostly based around a 4-5-3-6 progression, as clearly seen in the intro and the chorus, which is pretty typical. You'll hear that just about everywhere. And one thing to note is like how the 5 chord is in third inversion, which is again very common. I really like the sound of it. The first verse really there's not a whole lot of out of key chords in this. There's really just the 5 of 6, which is F sharp 7. It shows up in different versions and stuff. But again, it's so common. Really, the only one that took me by surprise was that A minor 7 over B, which is such a unique sound. I've never heard something like that before. And yeah, so pretty typical stuff here. But it's a really cool song, and it's very well arranged, and I think it shows how a well arranged song can take cliches or things that have been used to the point of being tired, and just use them in such a way that you liven it up, and that the listener forgets that it's a cliche and just gets into it. So that's it then. I hope you enjoyed this. The PDF for this will be up on the website at ungakuconcept.com if you would like to find that and study it there. Thanks for watching. If you have any suggestions for songs you'd like me to transcribe, go ahead and let me know in the comments, and I'll see you guys next week.